Tonight on Alaska's news source, the AP cites defense officials who say more than 1,000 Alaskan soldiers are on standby for possible deployment to Minnesota. Details ahead.
And dry air is moving in this week, bringing seasonally normal temperatures and sunnier skies.
Plus, a little Alaskan boy gets his wish. We catch up with Caleb, who has a big adventure ahead of him thanks to the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
You're watching Alaska's news source.
About 1,500 active duty soldiers from the Army's 11th Airborne Division in Alaska are on standby for possible deployment to Minneapolis. That's according to the Associated Press, who is citing two defense officials. Network news agencies are also reporting the same information about Alaskan soldiers. Protests in Minneapolis have intensified after Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent fatally shot Renee Good earlier this month. We reached out to a spokesperson for the 11th Airborne Division who directed all questions to the White House about the troops. And the chief Pentagon spokesperson released a statement to us saying the Department of War is always prepared to execute the orders of the commander-in-chief if called upon, but did not comment directly on what the U.S. defense officials told the AP. This comes as it's been another weekend of clashes in Minneapolis. Ian Lee is in Minneapolis with the latest.
As protests in the streets of Minneapolis pit pro-ICE demonstrators against anti-ICE demonstrators, a U.S. defense official tells CBS News 1,500 active duty soldiers are on standby in Alaska for possible deployment to Minneapolis. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz also has the state's National Guard on standby to support, quote, the rights of all who assemble peacefully. On Sunday's Face the Nation, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey expressed concern over the presence of ICE agents.
We are doing everything possible to keep the peace, notwithstanding this occupying force that has quite literally invaded our city. I mean, we've got 600 cops in the city of Minneapolis, and we're talking about 3,000 plus ICE agents and border control that have come in. They're not making our city safer.
Tensions have steadily escalated since the death of Renee Good, who was shot and killed by an ICE agent on January 7th. On Sunday's Face the Nation, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defended the actions of ICE in Minneapolis and blamed instances of violence on Mayor Frey and Governor Walz.
Because the mayor and the governor have allowed this kind of violence to be perpetuated across Minneapolis is why there's other innocent people that are impacted throughout the city, but throughout their state as well.
All of this comes as a new CBS poll indicates the public is growing increasingly concerned about ICE's recent actions in U.S. cities. The poll finds 61% of those surveyed say ICE is being too tough when stopping and detaining people, up from 56% in November. Ian Lee, CBS News, Minneapolis.
A U.S. defense official says President Trump has not decided yet whether to deploy soldiers to Minneapolis. And Bailey, the skies are looking clearer and temperatures are feeling a bit warmer. What's in store for this week?
Oh, Michaela, I have some good news for the state of Alaska. We're finally seeing some high pressure, but this high pressure is associated with slightly warmer air compared to what we've been seeing the last couple of weeks with abnormally cold temperatures. And I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say I'm ready to see some more sun and just these temperatures finally reaching that point of where they should be. So all across the state, we're seeing this high pressure begin to move in. This will bring in some of these partly cloudy skies, moving them into these mostly sunny conditions. Now, moist air is still lingering out west. You may have some snowy spots for areas like Gamble and for Nome, maybe some scattered snow showers in some other regions out west, but otherwise very, very light snow is likely overnight tonight. But as we move into Monday, we're completely clearing up across the state, which is great news compared to all the crazy weather that we've been facing the last couple of weeks. So expect some of this high pressure to bring in these nicer temperatures as well, but these sunnier skies. Now, avalanche concerns are still very high, especially for areas on the tree line and into those higher elevation regions where it's still a high concern. However, below the tree line is now been downgraded to considerable concern. So still, anytime you're out in the backcountry, please be careful and please be aware of the avalanche status of your area. Now, wind chill has been a pretty fairly big impact for the state in bringing these temperatures much colder than what they should be. But our wind chill is actually very calm right now, keeping these temperatures at what they normally are this time of year and keeping it closer to that actual high temperature. So across the state, we're feeling these temperatures much warmer than what we've normally been seeing. And of course, we do have a holiday tomorrow. So for your Martin Luther King Jr. forecast, highs in Anchorage at 27 degrees with these partly cloudy skies ahead. All across the state, mostly seeing these partly cloudy skies and warmer temperatures.
The run for Alaska governor has a new candidate. Jessica Faircloth, who has an address in Kasilof, has completed a candidate registry form. She is the 15th person to announce she is running for the seat. The primary for the governor's seat is in August of this year, and the general election is in November. And the Fairbanks City Council now includes a land acknowledgement on their agenda for every regular meeting after a close vote last month. On Monday, the body held its first meeting since the acknowledgement was added. The vote back in December coming in at a 3-3, with the mayor breaking the tie. Council members are hearing different views from the community, some saying it's necessary and overdue, while others argue it favors one group over another, or it's not needed because it's already being read out voluntarily at meetings.
Some of the comments were it's not inclusive, it's just addressing one part of our community. And that was probably the arguments I heard when I read the statements that came out of the Matsu area when they reversed their course, saying it was not inclusive, so they rewrote it.
It means so much to such a large portion of our community that that we do it and that we understand what those words mean. And I think the more that we recite them and add them into the culture of City Hall, the more that bleeds into who we are as a community.
The city also has a written land acknowledgement posted outside of council chambers. And when we come back, we check in with Caleb, a little boy with a passion for hockey that's been fighting a difficult diagnosis, but he's headed on a big adventure. Stick around.
Why are we here today?
Play hockey.
To play hockey?
Play hockey, yeah.
3-year-old Caleb Seidel loves hockey. That much is for sure.
I mean, as anyone that has a toddler knows, it's hard to get them to sit on one idea or one want, but Caleb has always loved sports. He's always loved watching hockey games, even before his diagnosis.
It's a constant in a young life that was thrown into uncertainty when Caleb was diagnosed with.
Why are we here today?
Play hockey.
To play hockey?
Play hockey, yeah.
3-year-old Caleb Seidel loves hockey. That much is for sure.
I mean, as anyone that has a toddler knows, it's hard to get them to sit on one idea or one want, but Caleb has always loved sports. He's always loved watching hockey games, even before his diagnosis.
It's a constant in a young life that was thrown into uncertainty when Caleb was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in 2024. What should have been a normal life of comfort for a 2-year-old was derailed.
We've been through some really intense treatments. All of these kids that have cancer go through the ringer, and it's amazing his resilience and his energy and just the fight that he's shown. Not even realizing that he's been fighting, but just trying to be a kid and be himself.
Something Caleb does best while on the ice. He's practicing with the Alaska All-Stars, a program normally meant for 6-year-olds that made an exception.
It's a real privilege to get to support a kid like Caleb that's out here fighting a battle you don't wish on your worst enemies. And kid started off with a pusher, and now he's flying around out there having a blast every night.
But as fun as the Diamond Ice Chalet is, Caleb and his family are about to see a much bigger rink. As part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, they're heading down to Seattle for Monday's Kraken game. It's the culmination of an extended wish, the first part of which saw Caleb getting to meet former Seattle center John Hayden and mascot Bowie.
Way more than helpful, like just blew us away with the generosity, and every step of the way, like every single person we've talked to has just been incredibly generous and kind and supportive of just making sure that the family and Caleb especially like feel special.
Charlie Fellows, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcast from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.